Humanity believed the war was over. For 20 years, the galaxy spoke of peace, trade, and shared futures. Humans were told they were finally safe among the stars. The Great Peace Treaty had ended all fear. That was the story taught in schools, shown in news, and carved into monuments. But the truth was never simple, and it was never kind. Captain Elias Rowe stood on the command deck of the human exploration ship Dawnfall. He looked calm, but his mind was restless. The ship moved silently through deep space, far from human worlds. This mission was called a routine patrol, yet everyone on board felt something was wrong. The stars outside looked the same, but space felt heavier, like it was holding its breath. The peace treaty had been signed after a brutal war between humanity and the Galactic Union. The Union was a powerful alliance of alien species. They claimed to value peace, balance, and law. Humanity was young, emotional, and dangerous, or so the Union said. When the war ended, the Union declared victory through diplomacy. Humans were allowed to survive, but only under strict rules. Human fleets were limited, weapons were restricted. Research into advanced military technology was monitored, travel routes were controlled. Even human colonies had to register population numbers and resource use. In return, the Union promised protection. They promised that no alien race would ever attack humanity again. Most humans accepted this deal. They were tired of war. They wanted normal lives, quiet skies, and futures without fear, but not everyone trusted the treaty. Captain Rowe was one of those people. He had grown up on Mars, where old war ruins still floated in the thin atmosphere. His father had died during the last year of the war, serving on a ship that vanished during a ceasefire negotiation. Elias remembered the silence after the final battle. It was not peace. It was waiting for something unseen, something patient, something cruel. The Dawnfall received a sudden signal. It was weak, broken, and clearly human. The signal came from the edge of Union space, from a mining colony that was supposed to be safe. Protocol said to report it and wait for Union forces. Protocol said humans were not allowed to respond with force. Rowe ignored the protocol. "Change course," he said calmly. The crew looked at him, then at each other, but no one argued. They trusted him. They trusted the feeling that had followed them since launch. As the ship moved closer, the signal grew clearer. It was a distress call. The voice was shaking, filled with fear and pain. "This is Outpost Hale. We are under attack. This is not a drill. Union forces are here. They are firing on us. Please, anyone, help us." The words cut through the deck like ice. Union forces do not attack protected colonies. That was the rule. That was the promise. That was the lie. The Dawnfall arrived hours later. What they found was not a battle. It was a massacre. The colony was burning. Human ships lay broken, torn apart by advanced weapons. Escape pods drifted, silent and cold. Union cruisers floated nearby, calm and untouched. They did not retreat. They did not hide. They waited. Captain Rowe opened a channel. "This is a human exploration vessel. Explain your actions." The Union commander appeared on screen. His face was smooth, his eyes cold and steady. His voice carried no emotion. "This operation is authorized. The colony violated treaty terms." Rowe clenched his jaw. "By existing." The Union commander did not answer. The channel closed. Union weapons powered up. The Dawnfall was no warship. It was lightly armed by treaty law. Rowe knew they could not win a full fight, but retreat would mean silence. Silence would mean lies would continue. Silence would mean more colonies would burn. "Record everything," Rowe ordered. "Broadcast on all human channels." The Union fired first. Energy tore through space. Shields failed. Systems screamed. The Dawnfall shook, metal bending and breaking. Alarms filled the air, but the ship did not fall. Human engineers had learned to build quiet strength, hidden strength, systems not listed in any treaty, power reserves the Union never knew existed. Rowe gave a single order: return fire. The Dawnfall responded with weapons the Union had never seen. Compact, powerful, precise. They burned through shields designed to stop fleets. A Union cruiser lost engines in seconds. Another lost weapons control. A third drifted, dark and broken. The galaxy had believed humans were weak. That belief exploded into debris. The Union retreated, not because they lost ships, but because they were shocked. Shock turned into fear. Fear turned into questions the Union did not want answered. The Dawnfall survived barely. Fires burned on multiple decks. Medics worked without rest. The crew watched the burning colony fade into darkness. They knew nothing could be saved. They also knew everything had changed. Across human space, the recorded battle spread like fire. Civilians watched in horror as Union ships attacked unarmed humans. They watched human weapons break Union armor. They listened to the screams from the colony. They asked the question leaders had avoided for years. If this was peace, why were humans dying? On Earth, emergency councils met. Old generals returned to command. Locked vaults were opened. Files marked forbidden were unsealed. Projects hidden since the war were activated. Humanity had not trusted the treaty. Humanity had prepared in silence. Captain Rowe stood alone on the darkened bridge. He knew the truth was now exposed. The peace treaty was never real. It was a cage built with smiles and lies. And humanity had just shown the galaxy that the cage door was open. The war had not ended. It had only been waiting. Somewhere beyond the stars, ancient powers were listening. They realized humanity was no longer quiet, no longer obedient, and no longer alone. The galaxy would soon learn what humans truly were when pushed into darkness together. The galaxy reacted fast. Within days of the outpost hail attack, Union broadcasts flooded every shared channel. They called it a misunderstanding. They said the colony was hiding illegal weapons. They claimed Captain Rowe was a criminal who attacked peacekeepers. The words were calm, polite, and carefully chosen. But humans had seen the recordings. They had heard the fear in human voices. No speech could erase that. On Earth, silence ended. Human leaders no longer asked the Union for answers. They asked their own people for unity. Across planets and stations, the same message played again and again. Humanity will defend itself. For the first time in 20 years, human shipyards lit up at full power. Old factories opened. New ones were built in secret locations. Civilian engineers became military designers overnight. The treaty limits were ignored. Humanity had followed the rules long enough to know they were never meant to protect humans. Captain Elias Rowe became a symbol. Some called him a hero. Others called him a threat. The Union demanded his arrest. Humanity refused. Instead, they promoted him. The Dawnfall was repaired in record time. Its damaged hull was replaced with darker alloy. Its systems were upgraded quietly. Not all changes were logged. Some were never spoken aloud. When the ship launched again, it was no longer an exploration vessel in spirit. It was a message. Rowe was given new orders, not to attack, not to conquer, but to observe, to go where humans were not supposed to go. To see what the Union hid behind its laws. The Dawnfall crossed into deep Union territory under false transponder codes. Human technology had grown in the shadows. The Union believed humans were predictable. That belief was now a weakness. They arrived near a Union-controlled world called Veltris. Officially, it was a trade hub. Unofficially, human intelligence suspected something darker. Too many ships went in. Too few came out. Too many signals vanished without reason. Rowe watched from a distance. Veltris was beautiful, blue oceans, white cities, orbital rings glowing with traffic. It looked peaceful. That made it worse. A small human freighter appeared on sensors. It followed approved routes, transmitted correct codes, and complied with every rule. Union patrol ships moved in anyway. They boarded it. Rowe ordered a passive scan. What they found made the bridge go quiet. The freighter crew was detained. The ship was searched beyond legal limits. Hidden scanners dug into walls, floors, even life support. When nothing illegal was found, the Union commander gave another order. The human crew was taken away. "No charges," the sensor officer whispered. "They're just taking them." Rowe's fists tightened. The Dawnfall followed the transport vessel at long range. It went down to Veltris. Beneath the white cities, deep under the surface, heat signatures showed massive structures, not factories, not power plants. Prisons, thousands of life signs, human, mixed with others, but humans were separated, contained, watched. The peace treaty had promised no imprisonment without trial, no punishment without cause. The Union had broken every word. Rowe recorded everything. Before he could leave, alarms rang. Union ships detected the Dawnfall. This time they did not talk. 3 cruisers moved in fast. They fired warning shots, cutting close enough to shake the hull. The message was clear: leave or be destroyed. Rowe made his choice. He sent the data burst, not just to Earth. To every human ship, colony, and station. He sent it openly, knowing the Union would intercept it too. The truth did not whisper. It roared. The Dawnfall jumped to hyperspace under fire. Shields burned. Engines screamed. 1 cruiser followed, but it was too slow. Humanity's hidden upgrades saved them again. Back in human space, the reaction was explosive. Families saw images of captured humans. Workers saw chains disguised as law. Soldiers saw enemies hiding behind treaties. The question changed from is the Union lying to how long have they been lying. Human fleets began to move, not as an invasion, as a recall. Exploration ships returned home. Trade vessels armed themselves. Old warships buried and forgotten rose from storage. Humanity was not panicking, it was focusing. The Union responded with threats, sanctions, closed borders, military patrols. They believed pressure would force humans back into obedience. Instead, it pushed humanity together. Ro was summoned to Earth. When he arrived, he stood before leaders who once begged for peace. Now they listened. The Union never saw us as equals, Ro said simply. We were a problem to control, a risk to manage. Peace was just a delay. A general asked the question everyone feared. If we fight, can we win? Ro did not answer quickly. We don't need to win, he said at last. We need to survive, and we need the truth to spread faster than their fear. Plans formed quietly. Humanity would not strike first. They would expose, reveal, protect. Every human world would become too costly to attack. Every lie would be answered with proof. Far beyond human space, Union leaders gathered in secret. Their calm masks cracked. Humans were not behaving as predicted. They were not divided. They were not weak. Worse, they were learning. An ancient Union advisor spoke words that chilled the room. If humanity is allowed to grow without limits, it said, they will not accept control. They will not forget betrayal. The advisor was right. Captain Ro stood aboard the Dawnfall once more. The ship waited at the edge of known space. Ahead lay regions marked forbidden even to Union ships. Ro looked at the stars and understood something the Union never had. Humanity did not seek war. But if war was forced upon them, they would fight not for power, not for conquest, but for every stolen life, every broken promise, and every truth buried in silence. And that kind of war changes the galaxy forever. The Union did not expect humanity to stop obeying. For generations, the Union had ruled through systems, not strength alone. Laws, treaties, and careful limits kept younger species under control. Most accepted it. Humanity did not. That made humans dangerous in a way the Union could not easily measure. After the Veltris revelations, Union patrols increased across human borders. Trade lanes closed. Supplies slowed. Medical shipments were delayed without reason. The message was quiet but clear: submit again or suffer slowly. Humanity answered by adapting. On frontier worlds, farmers learned to grow food in harsher soil. Engineers redesigned power grids to work without Union parts. Doctors shared open medical knowledge instead of licensed systems. Humanity had always survived by adjusting, by building solutions when none were offered. Captain Elias Ro was placed in charge of a new task group. It had no official name, only a purpose: find the truth the Union buried deepest. The Dawnfall was no longer alone. 3 human ships joined it, each built for a different role. One focused on sensors, one on electronic warfare, and one on rescue. None of them appeared dangerous at first glance. That was intentional. Their destination was an uncharted region known in Union records as a restricted observation zone. No reason was given. No history was shared. Only warnings. As they crossed the boundary, space itself seemed wrong. Communication lagged. Sensors bent. Artificial gravity fluctuated for seconds at a time. The Union had placed monitoring beacons everywhere, but there were gaps, large gaps. Ro suspected those gaps hid something important. They found it. A dead world drifted ahead. Gray, cracked, lifeless. Scans showed ruins under the surface. Cities, roads, energy scars. This planet had once been alive. The sensor ship confirmed the impossible. This world was destroyed by orbital weapons, the officer said. Union-grade weapons. Ro felt the weight of the words. Further scans revealed something worse. Escape signals, ancient. Human-like in structure, but older than humanity's first spaceflight. The technology was different, but the pattern was familiar, desperate, fading, final. This wasn't a battlefield, Ro said quietly. This was an execution. They dug deeper into the data. The planet belonged to a species erased from Union records, a species that advanced too quickly, a species that questioned Union authority, a species that refused limits. The Union response had been simple: erase them. The task group recorded everything. Data cores filled with proof of genocide hidden behind centuries of false history. The peace treaty with humanity suddenly looked less like mercy and more like procedure. Before they could leave, Union ships appeared. This time they were not patrols, they were enforcers, heavy hulls, black markings. No identification beyond Union command codes. A message came through, cold and final. You have entered a restricted extinction zone. Power down and prepare for removal. Removal did not mean arrest. Roe did not hesitate. Disperse, silent running, maximum stealth. The human ships scattered, vanishing into sensor noise the Union believed impossible for human technology. One ship was nearly caught. It burned its engines hard, drawing fire away from the others. It survived, but barely. The Dawnfall hid behind the dead world, using its broken magnetic field as cover. Union ships searched for hours. They did not find them. When the task group regrouped days later, the mood was heavy. "This is why they fear us," one officer said. "Not because we fight, because we remember." The data was sent home in fragments, hidden in civilian traffic and outdated formats. Union filters missed it. Human networks did not. Across human space, the reaction was not anger. It was clarity. The Union was not a peacekeeper. It was a gardener. It allowed growth only where it could control the shape. Anything that grew wild was cut down. Human leaders made a choice then. No speeches, no public threats. They began contacting other species. Quietly, carefully, many refused at first. Fear ran deep. But when shown proof of erased worlds, vanished civilizations, and secret prisons, some listened. Some remembered missing neighbors. Some realized the Union had always decided who deserved a future. Small alliances formed, not armies. Networks, information moved faster than fleets. The Union noticed too late. Their authority relied on belief, on the idea that resistance was pointless. Humanity shattered that illusion by surviving and sharing truth. Union fleets began positioning around key human worlds. The message was no longer hidden. Submit now or be erased later. Captain Rowe watched the stars from the Dawnfall's bridge. For the first time, he felt the scale of what humanity faced. This was not just a war for survival. It was a war against a system that had shaped the galaxy for thousands of years. But systems break when pressure comes from the inside. Humanity was not alone anymore. Somewhere deep within Union space, ancient machines activated. Old weapons stirred. Protocols long unused came online. The Union had decided. If humanity could not be controlled, it would be removed. And this time, the Union would not pretend it was peace. The first open strike came without warning. Union fleets crossed into human space under the claim of stability enforcement. They targeted communication arrays, shipyards, and supply hubs. Not cities, not yet. The Union still wanted to appear reasonable, controlled, lawful. Humanity understood the pattern. This was how erased civilizations had begun to fall. Human command did not wait for permission. Defensive grids activated across colonies. Civilian stations powered hidden shields. Ships once labeled research vessels revealed their true purpose. Humanity had learned a hard lesson long ago. Survival favors those who prepare quietly. Captain Elias Rowe was placed at the center of the defense line near the Helios Gate, a major travel route between human and Union space. The Dawnfall and its task group were outnumbered 3-1, but numbers no longer told the full story. Union ships advanced in perfect formation. Clean, predictable, built to intimidate, not adapt. Rowe studied their movement and saw the flaw. "They expect us to retreat," he said, "so we won't." Human ships surged forward. The first exchange shocked both sides. Union shields failed faster than expected. Human weapons did not rely on brute force alone. They targeted systems, power flows, and command nodes. Ships lost coordination. Formations broke. Still, the Union had experience. Heavy weapons answered back. One human ship took a direct hit and vanished in a burst of light. The loss cut deep, but there was no panic. Humanity had already accepted the cost. Then something unexpected happened. Union ships began firing on their own allies. Confusion spread across Union channels. Orders contradicted each other. Targeting systems glitched. Entire squadrons froze mid-battle. Human electronic warfare units found the source. Someone else was inside the Union network. A signal appeared on all frequencies. It was not human. Its language was old, layered, and careful. The translation took seconds. "We remember," the voice said. "We survived." Hidden fleets emerged from beyond known space. Ships of unfamiliar design, marked by symbols no one had seen in centuries. These were the descendants of erased species, refugees who escaped extinction by fleeing into darkness. They had waited, watched, learned. Humanity was not the first to be betrayed. The Union panicked. Their control depended on secrecy, on isolation. Now the truth had allies. The battle shifted. Union commanders lost authority as more ships defected or shut down entirely. Some crews refused orders, others fled. Rowe watched the chaos with grim understanding. This was not victory, this was collapse. The Dawnfall received a direct message from the unknown fleet. "You showed us the truth," the voice said. "Now we stand with you." Human command responded carefully. No demands, no claims of leadership, only a shared goal: end the system of erasure. Across the galaxy, similar scenes unfolded. Union patrols faced resistance not just from humans, but from species long thought obedient. The myth of Union unity cracked, but power does not surrender easily. Deep within Union core space, ancient defense platforms activated fully, planet-killing weapons aligned, not against fleets, against worlds. The Union High Council issued its final decree. Order will be restored. Human sensors detected the targets. Earth, Mars, the core colonies. Captain Rowe felt the weight of history settle on his shoulders. Humanity had awakened something massive and terrible, but there was no regret, only resolve. "All ships," he said calmly, "this ends now." Humanity and its new allies turned toward Union core space, knowing what waited there. The coming battle would decide more than borders or power. It would decide whether the galaxy belonged to fear, or to those who refused to disappear. Union core space was unlike anything humanity had seen. Stars were locked behind massive defense grids. Entire systems were shaped into weapons. Platforms the size of moons floated in perfect alignment, each carrying enough power to erase a planet in minutes. This was not defense. It was control built over thousands of years. Human and allied fleets arrived at the edge of this region and stopped. No one rushed forward. Everyone understood what was at stake. If the Union fired first, billions would die. Earth, Mars, and the core colonies had shields, but not against weapons of that scale. Humanity needed time, and time was something the Union believed humans did not have. Captain Elias Rowe stood on the Dawnfall's bridge, listening to voices from dozens of species. Fear was there, but so was determination. These fleets were not united by command. They were united by memory. Rowe spoke simply. "The Union believes fear ends resistance. We prove them wrong." The plan was not to destroy the platforms. It was to expose them. Human ships moved first, not toward the weapons, but toward the communication lattice that controlled them. Union defenses reacted instantly. Fire filled space. Ships were lost. Allies fell back, but the human advance did not stop. Electronic warfare units released everything humanity had hidden for decades. Old code, adaptive signals. Learning systems built from human curiosity and stubbornness. Union networks, rigid and ancient, began to slow. Then the Allies joined in. Species once erased, once hunted, knew Union systems better than anyone. They had survived inside the cracks. Their technology was not stronger, but it was clever. They fed the Union's own logic back at itself. Platform targeting systems hesitated. Seconds passed, then minutes. Across Union space, civilians saw something they had never seen before. Silence from the High Council. Human command seized the moment. They broadcast everything. The prison worlds, the dead planets, the extinction zones, the lies. Every hidden truth was pushed onto open channels, into public networks, into civilian systems the Union had never fully controlled. Union citizens watched their leaders authorize genocide. They watched worlds burn in archived footage. They listened to survivors speak. Order cracked. Some platforms powered down. Others turned away. Union military commanders began refusing final fire authorization. Not out of mercy, but because belief was gone. The Union was built on the idea that it was necessary. That idea had died. The High Council issued one last command, overriding all safeguards: fire anyway. Only a few platforms responded. That was when humanity revealed its final secret. Deep within Sol system space, engines older than the treaty ignited. Humanity had never stopped researching gravity itself. Not for weapons, but for defense. The platforms that fired found their energy paths bending. Shots missed. Power collapsed inward. Massive structures tore themselves apart under forces they could not control. The threat ended without Earth burning. Union core space fell into chaos. The war was not over, but it was decided. Captain Rowe watched Union signals fade one by one. The galaxy was changing, not through conquest, but through exposure. Systems built on fear cannot survive truth. Humanity did not claim the Union's place. They dismantled it. And in doing so, they made a promise the galaxy had never heard before. No species would ever vanish in silence again. One part remained: the end. The galaxy did not celebrate when the Union fell. There were no victory songs, no grand parades, no banners across the stars. What remained after the collapse was silence, heavy and uncertain. The kind of silence that follows a long storm when no one knows what the sky will do next. Union core space fractured into hundreds of independent regions. Some worlds shut themselves off, others begged for help. Many simply waited, afraid that a new ruler would rise and replace the old one. Humanity did not move to rule. That decision confused everyone. Captain Elias Rowe stood before a gathering unlike any before it. Representatives from dozens of species filled the chamber. Some were strong, some weak, some ancient, some young. Many had once feared humanity. Now they watched closely, waiting for the next step. Rowe spoke not as a conqueror, but as a witness. The Union believed peace could be enforced by control, he said calmly. They believed safety required obedience. Humanity lived under that lie for 20 years. Others lived under it for centuries. He paused, letting the words settle. We are not here to replace one cage with another. That single sentence changed everything. Instead of a new empire, humanity proposed something dangerous to old powers. Choice, no forced treaties, no hidden limits, no extinction zones. Shared knowledge would be open. Defense would be mutual but never mandatory. Any world could leave, any species could refuse. Many thought it would fail. Some said chaos would follow, that war would return without a central authority. Humanity accepted the risk, because freedom always carries risk. Captain Rowe returned to the Dawnfall weeks later. The ship was older now, marked by scars that would never be fully repaired. The crew had